Welcome back to the Ovation of the Seas cruise of Rich and Cathy from Hawaii to Vancouver. This was us, as always, pleasantly surprised to be traveling again at Terminal 3 at Phoenix International Airport, Sky Harbor Airport, getting ready to debark on our flight to Hawaii. Yes, it's once again an early flight leaving out of Phoenix, and we were flying Hawaiian Airlines this time, not Southwest, and that's our plane, all set to go, an Airbus 320. We had the 3 and 4 and 3 across seating in that one, and we had a great time. And as you can see, our 7:05 flight was on time to Honolulu. Couldn't wait! Of course, once we got to Hawaii, got our luggage all set, and got to the hotel, we decided it was time for dinner. What do you eat in Hawaii? Well, you gotta go for pizza. Hawaiian style, of course, with Canadian bacon and peppers and, of course, the pineapple. You gotta have pineapple when you're in Hawaii, right? But this time, it wasn't Cathy that was sleeping in. It was Rich, and he was tired from the flight, from the excitement, getting ready to get on board the ship. After a quick Uber ride to the Honolulu pier, we jumped in, got signed in, got ready to go, and this was the mob that was waiting for us. A lot of folks that you see way into the front foreground here had actually made the trip from Australia to Hawaii. They were going to go to Vancouver with us, but they just had to get off the ship. We had a Coast Guard inspection that delayed us on this particular boarding, so we had to sit and wait and wait and wait. We were supposed to get on board at 12:30. It was more like 1:30, quarter to 2 that we got on, and it was a little late, but that's all right. We were happy. A lot of folks waiting, luggage in hand. And of course, if you've never cruised before, the first thing you have to do is go and check in. We had to meet our nice little lady here to show us how to put on the life preservers, and we had to do the video. All your muster drill now is on your phone, so you do it before you get to the ship, and then you just go and they make sure that you know how to put on a life preserver and get you checked off, and that's about it. No more standing in line for 45 minutes. A whole lot better. And after the muster drill, usually we go to the Windjammer Cafe for lunch. This time we decided to do something a little different. Cathy wanted to try out a kind of a unique restaurant called Fish and Ships, and it was right on the pool deck. So we went to Fish and Ships and had some fish and chips. Chips, not ships. We already had that. Here's a view of Honolulu from the pier, from the port of Honolulu. You can see we're not quite downtown Honolulu, a little bit west of that, kind of over, if you're familiar with Honolulu at all, we're kind of over by the naval base and over by Pearl Harbor. That's about where we are, but you can look down and we'll show you another couple of pictures here. Another quick view of Honolulu from the pier itself, looking back. Honolulu's really grown in the last few years. A lot of folks moving that way. Of course, you can't say that you've been to Honolulu without taking at least one picture of Diamond Head. That's Diamond Head. The hotels you see to the right, way down there, that is Waikiki Beach. So we are an awful long way away from Waikiki. But like most ports, this is a shipping port, not just a cruise port. In fact, they don't do many cruises. There's only room really for one vessel, one ship, one cruise ship per day in Honolulu today. But, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, they all come here on their cruises. Here's a video of Cathy doing what she likes to do best when she's on a Royal Caribbean ship. She loves that soft serve ice cream, and she certainly got her fair share of it this cruise. Didn't eat quite as much as she did on the last cruise, but she did stand in line for it before we left. One of the neat things that they have on board Ovation of the Seas is this big red chair sitting on main deck, and Cathy couldn't wait to sit down in it. She had her arms spread out nice and wide, and then had to give me a little bit of fun look on the next picture. And this is our cabin. We have a desk, nice big screen TV over here with coffee maker. Yay! Water. Cathy's side of the bed, because it's got the plug. My side of the bed. And our view of outside. Not bad for an interior cabin. Bathroom's right there. And closet right there. You've seen our cabin. This is one of the neatest things about this particular class of ships. This is on Ovation of the Seas, and all of these ships have bumper cars. They can have basketball court inside. You can play soccer inside. You can even play pickleball inside. And a lot of folks were doing just that as they were playing the soccer. They were playing the bumper cars. They were going. This is the Napoli coast off the island of Kauai. We couldn't go to Lanai because of all of the, or Lahaina, because of all of the fire that destroyed the town, basically. So they cruised by the Napoli coast in Kauai. This is kind of a neat thing. And one of the ships got in trouble after our cruise for sailing too close to the shore. Crazy. Here's the entrance to the spa. Now, this is Cathy's favorite thing of everything to do on a ship. And I'll show you why here in just a minute. And you can see, and here it is. This is Cathy getting ready, and she's actually in here right now. This is the Persian Gardens, if you will. This is the luxury spa. Those are heated stone seats, and you can lay on those things. They are warm. There's Cathy, and they have a good time with that. That's a dry steam room there. The wet steam room is right there. And on the other side, if we'll get over there in just a second here, is the showers. And you've got a rain shower that can give you hot or cold. Doesn't matter. But you could spend an awful lot of time inside this particular Persian Gardens. It's a whole lot of fun. Welcome to the studio. This is a rather fun place to go. They do a lot of different things in here. They have a bar. It's a 2-story venue. You can see the people coming down the stairs right there. And we did a lot of trivia in here. There are a lot of trivia contests. They'll play karaoke at night. A lot of different things going on in here in the studio. And of course, Cathy's always on her phone when she's waiting to play trivia. And here she is in the studio waiting to play trivia with us and have a great time. We did have a good time with it. And we actually won a few times of trivia too. This is called the 270 Lounge. Now, the 270 Lounge is a multimedia event. I mean, there aren't a lot of seats in this thing. It's a 2-story lounge, and they have different things that come up from the floor, little, trap doors and things like that. They used it quite a bit for line dancing, as you're going to see here in a minute, as well as trivia. And we do an awful lot of line dancing here. Let's take a look at that.
Let me hear you say, yeehaw! And right, left, right, left, piggies, piggies, right, left, left, tom and top, turn and top, and right, left, piggies, piggies. All right, y'all, we're about to run in place after the stop class. And run and play, run and play, run and play, run and play, and right, very good. Piggies, take it, piggies, right, left, stomp and top, turn and top, and right, left, piggies, piggies, right, left.
For a couple of the times that we actually won at trivia, we didn't do it by ourselves. This is Steve. Steve's from Oregon, and he's blind and carries around a cane and everything else. But Steve was really good at trivia, and we did such a good job together. We teamed up with Steve a few times in a couple of different venues to play trivia. And I found out afterwards, the last day of the cruise, he was actually in a singing contest and came in 3rd place. And he did very well in the progressive trivia, which was every day of the cruise. In fact, Steve had his own posse, and one of the ladies there does what a lot of people do when they go on cruises. They hide rubber ducks. And she gave me a rubber duck. She also gave Cathy a rubber duck. And these are us showing you our rubber ducks. Cathy gave hers away. I don't know what happened to mine. This is one of the more interesting things that you find on Ovation of the Seas that you don't find on any other cruise ship in the Royal Caribbean. This is standing on a glass floor looking down 14 decks. Cathy didn't want to do that. She's afraid of heights and doesn't like to look down and see nothing under her feet. And of course, what Royal Caribbean does on, I think, every cruise, doesn't matter what ship you're on, they do a love and marriage game show. Typically, they get somebody that's been married probably under 3 years, then somebody that's been married 20, 25 years, and somebody that's married like 50, 60 years, and they ask them questions, embarrassing questions, and see how they do. The old couple won on this one. If you've seen our other videos, you know that a lot of times we'll show up for dinner and there won't be anybody there. We'll be eating at a table for 6 or 8 or 10 by ourselves. Well, we got there early this night. Our companions did show up. They were very nice people. They were from there was a man and a wife from Minnesota and a couple from Florida, and we had a great time with them every night at dinner. Well, most nights at dinner. They went to the chef's table one night. We ate somewhere else one night, and so we didn't see them every night, but we had a good time. Did we go on the bumper cars? Well, kind of, sort of, maybe. These were the bumper cars that were waiting to go on to the main drag. And here's Cathy in hers, and here's Rich in his. But no, we didn't actually get into the bumper cars and run around in them. They have a huge line for that stuff. You got to get there early and stand in line, but it looked a lot of fun. This is us coming into Kona, Hawaii. Now, they've got Kona on the western side of the Big Island, and on the eastern side is Hilo. We've been to Hilo before for a women's basketball tournament, but we'd never been to Kona before. Kona is where they get the coffee, the Kona coffee, right? It was $50 a pound right inside the pier to get some of that. We decided, it's not that good. So we decided to skip the coffee this time around. But this was taken from the actual tender boat that took us into Kona. Cathy took this picture, thought the tree really looked good. If you look beyond the tree, you can see Ovation of the Seas back there. That's how far you had to come in on the tender, but that tree was kind of really neat. A banyan tree, I think is what it is. But nonetheless, those things are really cool. And all over the island of Hawaii. Maui had some too. Of course, when you don't have Wi-Fi and you don't have the ability to call people when you're on board the ship, Hawaii is local call from most people with a cell phone. So this is me standing against a wall calling people back in Arizona, letting them know, hey, we made it to Kona, and checking my emails because we didn't have Wi-Fi on this trip either. So when you're at sea for 9 days, it's an awful long time to be at sea without having any contact with the outside world. And this is another look at Kona from Kona. There's a road that runs right along the coast, and so we were walking down there, seeing the different shops and whatnot. Cathy got a T-shirt for a friend of hers, and Rich got a new watch battery that cost him $20. One of the things that was a little disconcerting for everybody on board the ship, we had a gentleman that had a heart attack on board our ship and needed to be evacuated. They had to send out Black Hawk helicopters from San Francisco. We had to be within 250 miles so they wouldn't have to refuel. They had to refuel once they got there to the ship, and they had a plane that refueled them, and then they loaded him in a basket and flew him back to San Francisco. He made it. He's okay. It's going to be a little bit of a long recovery for him, but nonetheless, it meant that we were going to be delayed by about 12 hours getting in to Vancouver, which meant we were going to miss our flight. Thank God that Royal Caribbean decided to give everybody some flight money and hotel money and Uber money and whatnot, so we would be able to get back home safely without having to spend all of our money. They took care of that for us because it really wasn't anybody's fault. The poor guy had a heart attack, and its good news is he was okay. Here are some islands coming into Vancouver. This was taken from, I believe this was taken from the Windjammer Cafe early in the morning. So we were up having breakfast, sailing past a lot of different islands. Now, this shot here is, you can see in the distance, that's Vancouver, as we are nearing the bridge that we have to go under, that we had to wait till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get under this particular bridge, because if we didn't, we would be too tall and wouldn't get it. You can barely see the bridge in the foreground there, and here's a better shot of it. You can maybe make out that picture. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and you're going to be able to see a little bit better about the bridge, where the bridge is. And so that was coming back into Vancouver right there. Here we are in the 270 Lounge on debarkation day. This is where we're going to get off the ship. Got very, very crowded, and they were doing Taylor Swift trivia while we were waiting for the ship to clear customs. A lot of fun. Imagine our surprise being from the Arizona desert when we look out and see nothing but snow in the mountains as we were coming into Vancouver. That was our sight right there. Speaking of Taylor Swift, this girl right here aced the Taylor Swift trivia. She was sitting right next to us. There were 3 young ladies that all got all of the questions right. Unfortunately, in the tiebreaker, she ended up in second place and didn't get the big prize, which I think was a keychain. Okay, remember how I told you that we had to wait until the tide was low so we could get the ship underneath this bridge? And it was the Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver, and it's the only way in to the port of Vancouver. So we had to wait until the tide was down. We couldn't get through the bridge until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is that bridge. You can see it through the window there. We don't have a lot of great views of it, but you can see a couple of the pictures that show some of the bridge. Back on dry land in the city of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, you can see the ship right there off to the left. The big building on the right is Canada Place. That is the port in Vancouver, and the ship on the right, to the left of that, is our ship, Ovation of the Seas, and we are waiting for an Uber to take us to a hotel over by the airport, about a 45-minute ride away. Beautiful city. And there you have it. Our cruise from Hawaii to Vancouver, Canada, and it was a great time. We had a good time with it. It was a little bit different type of cruise for us with the medical evacuation and all. In fact, we were a day late getting home, but nonetheless, we did it. Our next cruise coming up, well, it's back-to-back European cruises. We'll be doing the Greek Isle from Rome, and then we'll be going to Barcelona, Spain after that, and then doing the transatlantic from Barcelona, Spain, all the way back to Fort Lauderdale, October 7th through November 9th. Coming up this fall on the Celebrity Ascent, a ship that's less than a year old. Can't wait to see you then. Take care.